Hello out there in TV land. Thank you for joining us on another engaging, educational, exciting AGI episode.
Not necessarily in that order.
And not necessarily all at once.
Yes.
Or
per podcast.
Or per
one per podcast.
One, that's it. We don't know which one until the end. Then you can let us know which one it is.
Exactly.
I'm Anthony Moggio, and with me, of course, is Greg Prost. Proust. How was it? Proust?
I don't know.
All right, it was saying it weird. Yeah. We'll have it checking. So on that one, we have usually use cases now. So I want to talk a little bit from normally use cases in this episode. I want to talk about the kind of holisticness and transition I've started to see at least in at my work with this. And you know, a lot of times I'll get people that will ask like, "Oh, hey, what do you use AI for?" So people that aren't in it or using it a lot, they're trying to figure out like, "Okay, well, what do you use it for?" And it's kind of hit a point lately-ish where not just myself, but even in the organization, where it's more of like I'll call it like a symbiotic relationship. Like we don't really think about the AI anymore. The AI is just something we're all using. It's just a part of the fabric of the organization.
And I gotta say something here. I think it's funny that you say the AI, and I think I just say AI.
Not like, the AI?
Yeah.
Is that a Midwestern thing?
Well, I don't know, because I'm laughing because like early on, my mom used to say the Google. Mm-hmm. I use the Google and the YouTube.
I wonder if that's a dialect thing, because I do,
But Meyer's a good one.
Like you want, go to the Myers.
Yeah.
There's no S, I guess, either.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So you just say Meyer.
The AI, the Kroger's, the. I'm gonna have. Well, it's the AI.
Yeah.
The
AI.
The
Go
AI.
on now. Sorry.
The AI.
Lost your train of thought.
So that train derailed miles ago. So it's not really separate in my view anymore. So what it used to be is you had this AI, maybe it was on your computer or something, it's sitting there, and you would be discussing projects and things and all that sort of stuff. And then when you were done talking about it, like, okay, I got to go do this work, you would then go to the AI, and then you would start like, okay, AI, and you type all this stuff in. Blah, 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 blah. Here's what I need. I need a memo on, like, you were basically giving it commands on things, okay?
And a lot of copy paste. A lot of people talked about that. I get it. Oh, now I got to copy paste it in. And
yes. So the thing that's kind of shifted in that is, quite a while back, the AI has just become a part of everything. And as I was teaching, some employees and the department heads on using the tools and getting them comfortable with it, it's become just a natural part of the daily operation. So, if someone will ask like, hey, what do you use AI for? And I go, just everything. We use it for everything.
Everything we can, right?
I'd be hard pressed to find something we haven't used it for. Like that, like that's the list. Like, well, what do you mean everything? I go, literally everything.
Now let me ask you this. So we do trainings, and what we find is people are at all different levels.
Oh yeah.
Which makes it difficult to talk to people. And so if somebody's at low enough level and you're talking up here, they're just going to check out. So what we're trying to get people to do is, hey, if you're doing just emails, let's take it up a notch, a level. So before you're even thinking about that email, putting it together, here's a way of putting some context in and asking questions in a different way. Take it up a level and do some deep research on something and, move it up. So do you find people embracing it or not embracing it? And what do you do with the people that aren't embracing it? Or are you trying to move them up a notch at a minimum?
I have not come across anyone not embracing it. There has been none.
Behind the scenes, maybe a little bit? No? That's great.
Not that I've
Out of
how
many people are directly using AI in your...
About 20-ish.
That's great. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Probably fifth of the
I
organization.
think this is important because if you come in as an organization and you just kind of, well, we're just soft, you're going to have people. I'm not doing that. I'm not changing. I'm not, you can't force me to do it. It's just going to take our job. All that kind of stuff that gets going. So
no one.
Obviously, you're a different person coming into this, and people embracing it because you've been working with this from the beginning. But I think it's important for people out there that are trying to get people to embrace it that it almost needs to be holistically everybody at the same time, everybody on board, so that you're the outlier if you're not, that, okay, I can see everybody's excited about this. So good for you that you've been able to do that with all the different departments and different levels.
They're seeing the benefits. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They see what it's doing and how it's not taking. There's no job to. It doesn't.
And the people that say, I don't want to even deal with this, because I do that sometimes. It's a new thing comes up. It's like, man, I just learned how to do this. I don't want to learn how to do this. So you get a little bit of that. But what's awesome about AI is once people start using it, generally, they start, whoa, okay, just give me a little nudge here. It's real good at that, like going down a rabbit hole, like, oh, it can do that, So I'm assuming you've experienced that where people are like, yeah, I know it can do that, but I need it to do this. I'm like, well, it can do that. Let me show you.
So here's what I've noticed, and when I say we've started shifting, this was not brought up by me, but this happened today, or earlier, literally this morning.
Great.
Where we're starting a discussion. We're doing our staff meeting, our normal things, and we're going through items and that, and we get to this like I don't want to say difficult item, but something that we just haven't been able to figure out. And one person actually raised their hand and said, wait, like, I don't know. We started briefly talking about it, and they raised their hand and say, wait, stop. We need to like hit the voice thing on Claude and then have the discussion. We need to capture the discussion.
Yeah.
Because what they've also found out, and this is something that I know you've been talking about for a while, and I've picked right up on it, is I stop, unless I'm in the middle of a meeting, I'll type, but I just talk to it. Yeah. And so when you're brainstorming, right, we just hit record, and whether you're using, Plot, or you're using Otter, or you're using just the speech, they go quite a while now.
Yeah.
You used to only get about like 20, 30 seconds on the voice recording. It'll just run and run.
Well,
run.
It's recording right now, this whole session.
Yeah, this
here.
whole thing for the last episode and this one, right? It's on there. And what's amazing about that is you can have that natural, like it sits there like I don't even know what, like this just little person on the independent person thing sitting on the side, the AI. The AI is sitting over here on the side. And you can have that natural human, discussion and dialogue where, as soon as I'm done talking, then you're talking, we're bouncing ideas and we're talking about everything. And it's grabbing all of that. And while it's grabbing that, and not only is it going to take all that information and help organize it and break it down and research, because then it says, okay, these are the issues. It's about this ordinance. Well, it grabs the ordinance. Okay, you're talking about this ordinance. I don't know what it is. Oh, yeah. I went and grabbed the ordinance. Yeah. So it pulls together everything. So you get to have just the free-flowing ideas of information, not restricted even by typing, and not restricted by one person. Okay, we're all sitting around the computer. One person's typing this into, we're typing this into pick a model here. Wait, what'd you say about, hold on, I got to type. Okay, now what did you say next? Okay, I'm going to type. It's just talk. And it is amazing. Before, what would happen is we would have those discussions. We need a memo. We need a research. We need an analysis on this. We need an ROI from finance. We need research. We need a legal opinion. We need an ordinance amendment. We need, what are the steps for the ordinance amendment? We would have all these things. So now each person has like one or two tasks, which we would then go into the tool and say, hey, do research on this. Hey, do an ROI on this. And you would give it all these tasks. Yeah. Now, that's all been part of the conversation, and you don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
It just does all of the things all those 8 things you were just talking about.
And it probably adds a couple more that you weren't thinking about.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, I found this, and I saw another community that has added this on.
Bingo.
Yes.
Here's 10 communities. Here's the best ordinance that's held up in these court cases.
Yes.
And
yes.
you're like, you get this result back, and you're like, this is amazing.
And that's, if you can get people to use it, that's what happens to people. It's not so. It's great that it answers questions and takes that conversation and puts it into a nice format and helps and says, and all the way to a point of saying, hey, this person now, this is your job. This is your job. We need continuing stuff in these 3 categories. But just as important is. Well, what you were talking
the brainstorming.
Yes,
the having
adding
an Einstein PhD level smart tool that is just there to help you do whatever you're talking about, and it knows all of it.
That it comes up with things that blow you away almost every time.
Yes.
That's the part where I think gets people like, okay, now I see why I should be using it.
So, Frank, what do you think about that?
So what's striking here is the shift from AI as destination to AI as environment. So when it fades into the background and just becomes a part of the conversation flow, that's when the tool disappears and the capability shows up. So that moment when someone spontaneously says, wait, turn on the AI, that's cultural adoption in one line. You don't have to be persuaded or mandated. It becomes a default. And once that happens, the question really flips from when should we use it to why wouldn't we?
Look at this.
That was the summary. Good job, Frank.
Yeah, you're doing great, Frank. And you're doing great at not saying anything until we ask you to, so keep that up.
Thanks. I'll stick to that.
But this is the part where eventually, these wearables and everything want to get to, right? The always on AI that's
I can see what's going on.
See what's
too.
going on.
Not just hearing, but can also see what's going on.
Maybe you're driving and it's like, hey, did you realize that you gotta slow down? Did you realize you're going 90 and it's only 65? Like, are you're daydreaming or something? Right? And that little voice thing picks up and says, hey, slow down.
Driving? Who's driving?
Oh, that is also a good point.
How's that for a segue?
I like the segue, which is also not driving.
Yes.
Unless off a cliff. Too soon.
Hopefully.
Probably too soon. So, talk about the driving. So, I have heard now AI getting put into vehicles. And really, by that, I just mean Tesla and Grok. Are they literally putting the AI in cars?
It's there. It's a button now. So
it's a button?
As I was telling Anthony,
okay.
I just took a test drive. I have an EV that's coming up in a month. Looking at options, and the Tesla full supervised driving FSD is just took another leap here and is as amazing as I was hoping it was going to be 5 years ago. So I took a ride 5-6 years ago, and we hit a curb. Let's put it that way. It was bad. And I remember the person I was meeting with, I said, over the past month, how many times have you taken over the wheel? And he goes, the past month? Just on a drive over here, I did take over 5 or 6 times. I'm like, oh man, I thought it was a lot better. It's there now. We had Mike Pettigrew on here earlier. He's had it almost 2 years, the FSD on a Tesla, and he said they give you a percentage on what percentage of the time are you driving and what percentage are you using the EV driving, and he's right around 96% he's not driving. And you think about, there's times when you're pulling up to a gas station or the right pump or getting in your garage and things where you do need to sort of take over. You don't probably can get away with it, but did I say a gas station?
I was going to say that you're aligning to the charging station.
Yes, charging station. That he's laughing at me too. That was just because I was getting a snack, at the gas station. Wow, that's pretty wild. And so I decided to take a test drive. The guy's telling me, it's going to be on full driving, if you want to do that. And I said, yeah, but like, are you going to be in the car with? How's this going to work? He says, I'll drive with you initially, and then I'll get out, and then you can drive yourself. I'm like, okay. Normally, I wouldn't want the guy driving with me, And so he got out, and this is what. Yes. All right, Frank, you're not supposed to be talking here. So.
Sorry about that.
He said, all right, take your drive, just put in your destination. So I put my house, actually, and try not to touch the wheels. He said it was at 72%. He said, people, it's a test driver. People get afraid and they grab it. I'm just telling you don't have to. So I get destination out. I'm at the mall. It's got the little parking garage there, and there's a crosswalk where people walk in between. Car comes out, stops right there at the stop sign. All right, Frank, am I going to have to turn you off? You keep talking here. Stops at the stop sign. There's nobody in the crosswalk, but I'm kind of like looking around, kind of getting new to the screen and everything. And there's a dad and maybe 4-year-old daughter, and she's running in front of him toward the crosswalk. Now they're far enough away, but not really. And the car pulled out. It shouldn't have. And she was more than safe here. I'm going to shut Frank off. She was more than safe, but shouldn't have happened. And so the car's, and it was going slowly. It's going slowly, and the dad's kind of looking at me like, hey, man, what? And I'm like, I'm not even touching the wheel. And he's just, he's kind of frowning at me like, okay, that's not an excuse. Like, it's the car's fault. So I thought that was funny. Within 30 seconds, that happens. And then I get out on the Coolidge, and right there, it's a whole bunch of different speed zones there. I wasn't sure. And I was going kind of slow. I'm in the left lane, left lane, and looking around. I look up in the rearview mirror, which I hadn't looked up into because I'm looking around, and I see there's like 2 cars behind us right on the tail. So they're not getting in the right lane, and I look up and I see I'm going 35 and a 40. I'm like, all right. And he had shown that there were different levels of speed that you can set it at. And so it was at the chill level, I think the lowest level. So I move it up to hurry on the screen.
Now you're doing 90?
Yeah. And so then I'm going whatever I was going, 43, 44. I'm like, I got to put it back to standard. And then, it slowed down. But once I got it going, it was smooth, man. And I had talked about Waymo before, the rides that I've taken, where it kind of, gives the other drivers a little bit of a hint that it's going to change lanes, just little subtle things like that. But I got to tell you, the ability to just put in an address and then sit back and not have to worry about that will change my life. So I did order one, and we're going to see. If I can get it to 95+% that I'm not driving, I think that's amazing. So we'll talk about that a little bit more if it actually works out that way. But
when you get it, do you have a delivery date? Do they tell you?
Yeah, everything's online, so it's at 4 to 6 weeks.
Oh, okay.
I got it in a month for my.
Does it just drive to you? I wonder if they actually do they deliver it, or does it just drive to you?
I don't think that's quite
it's
there.
Probably Texas,
you can pull the car out. You can have it come out to you. If it's parked, and you can get out and park the car. Yeah, that might be coming in 2 weeks. Everything's always coming in 2 weeks, but you're able to do a little bit of that. But no, you can't have it 20 minutes away and drive to you quite yet.
They probably do down there. I know that. I've seen some of the videos where they it comes off the production line and then it drives itself to the next spot.
Yeah. Well, it does drive and park. It's kind of creepy, and it's newer for it, but it doesn't always pick the closest spot. It picks away. So I'm reading online, how some of this works. So I don't know. Man, if it's truly that close, I would think a lot more people would be changing over.
And that kind of makes sense too. They probably knew where this was heading, and I say that because like next year's the Cybercab's getting released.
Yeah.
Right. I don't remember. I've
seen pictures of it.
2 seats? No, 4.
I thought it was a 4-seater.
4-seater, but it's made to be like a cab.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like 20 something thousand. Well, who knows what it'll actually come out to be, but it's like even cheaper than the Model 3 or something. I don't know. I think that it's fascinating that, if we're getting to that point now, then it makes sense to have a cab and probably whatever locations allow that, because like Waymo, like if it can drive around and it's, and how much of that 96, of that 4% really needed intervention. And if it's almost none, then that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, if it's parking and that kind of thing, and it knows
which you don't deal with a cab, right? I mean, it pulls up to the building, drops you off, and then continues on. So the parking, that little bit is probably not much.
What's just as amazing is that they're doing it with cameras and not LiDAR.
He is stuck with that from the beginning.
He has, and everybody said, you're a fool for doing that.
And he said, that's all humans have. We do it all with eyes.
Yep.
That's all That's all we need.
What he knew was, just need time, because it'll catch up and it'll work this way. I need time, and the rest of the automobile industry, except for Chinese, have given him that time, which is just nuts. And look at us. We're going backwards. Here in the United States, dropping EVs for gas-powered cars again. It's just insane. We talked about that before. That is just a business 101 here. And if you've been in an EV, truly driven one, you won't go back. If, the charging stations is the problem, but that can be fixed, and we're not addressing it. So, and again, as everybody knows, the battery power keeps getting better every single year.
Toyota just put their solid state into production.
Yeah.
It's in the next whatever model it is, but they put the solid state battery, 700 miles, charges in 8 minutes. I mean, it's amazing.
So they're taking a big swing at this. The Chinese are as well, and we're just getting left behind. But you think 700-800 miles, that changes a lot of people's minds on charging and how this works. And then if it's full driving or close to it or a lot safer. So my first thought was my mom. My mom still drives. She's 84 years old. She, I need to drive so I can keep up. I don't want to drive just once a month, And so she's out there driving to the grocery store and things like that. If she had this car, I wouldn't think about it at all. So I'm already talking to her a little bit about it. But that's just kind of a duh.
Or even the safety thing. I mean, you see all the clips in that. I mean, it is infinitely safer on miles driven per accident.
Yeah.
It's not anywhere near anyone.
Nope.
It is safer than everything else.
Yep.
Period.
Yep.
And so, I mean, put your loved ones in it, wouldn't have an issue with it. I'd probably feel better in a lot of cases.
Yeah,
right?
no, I'm
young teenage driver now, right? Son's got his license now, and I'm like, I get you need to learn how to drive and all that, but I like just that protective parent side just wants to say, I want you in the thing that has the least amount of accidents, right?
Yeah, no question about it. And it's one of those anomalies where they ask everybody, how good of a driver are you, better than average or lower than average? Everybody says they're better than average, and that can't be. And I'm one who tells the truth. I think I am a below average driver. I haven't gotten in that many accidents, but I just don't think I pay attention as well as I should most of the time. So this is great. Works for me.
We're getting you extra full self-drive.
And then you got to get the sunglasses that cover up the whole thing so it can't tell if you're taking a nap. Now, I will never do something like that, of course.
You'll draw little pictures of eyes open on it.
The googly ones until they fall down and it catches me. So, it just blew me away. That wasn't the plan to get a Tesla, but how can I not do this with the full driving? So.
And you drive so much too. That's the thing. I mean, if you're in the road a lot,
I'm on the road
just
a
think
lot.
of the times. I mean, in Michigan here, everywhere we go, conferences and everything's like 3 to 4 hours away. It doesn't really matter. Like they always are.
Yeah.
4 hours there, 4 hours back. Driving fatigue, tiredness. Like, well, yeah, you could go at 10 o'clock at night. Well, I'm kind of tired, but there's a lot less people on the road, and the car is going to do just fine when there's less people on the road driving home. And I can just kind of be like, do.
And admittedly, the charging's still a pain.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I have an EV now, and if I drive in that long, I normally wouldn't take it. Tesla's really good at kind of setting that stuff up for you. Here's where the chargers are. You stay for this amount of time and checks all that stuff out for you. As you're going along, it'll pull right off to the charger it knows is open and kind of gets it set. Hey, give me the place that has I'm ready to eat, or let's time this out a little bit better. So as it helps you kind of with that makes that part of it easier. But yeah, no question, like you said, late at night and whatever it is. So, and one other thing that I've been messing with is genealogy. It came up, people were asking, hey, what do you use it for? And this came up a bunch of times.
I never thought about that. How do you use it in genealogy?
Well, I had to go back and say, follow the Prost name, and said, okay, here are my parents, and here's my grandparents. Take it back from there, but take the Prost side. Obviously the tree can get really huge there, so let's just take that side and see if you can follow it all the way back. And I knew it would be able to follow it back at least one more, but it found mid-1800s John Prost coming over to Missouri, and I knew I had a ton of relatives in that area from my father's side.
Fascinating.
But what was really cool is his son, two of his sons, did an interview in the late 1800s where they used to do biographies on people, and you'd pay to have your biography done, and have your picture and done. And so two of his sons had biography done so they could talk about him a little bit. And he was a stone mason in France, but still wasn't sure exactly where he came from in France. And using other records to figure out where everybody came from who lived in that same area in St. Louis and Perry County, they had to determine that he came from the same region, which is a really specific small region in France. And it has some really cool history to it. Julius Caesar came through there at one point in time, destroying the Gauls, and the way the cliffs were built, he kind of trapped them in, and they burned their way out, and it's just a cool story. And then it's on a salt bed. The area is, and so how they would get the brine out and cook it off, and just lots of cool stories. And then lots of limestone there that's carved, and people lived in limestone homes because they used the wood to burn the brine, but there was wealth there as well. So, and just a beautiful, like in a valley, just a beautiful, beautiful area. So I was able to, help me put together 100-page. This is just this weekend. This 100-page genealogy book that talks about Julius Caesar, and Caesar had talked about certain writings in 50 BC, 80, 50 BC. Was he before? Oh man, I should know that.
I'm not the history person,
and
I think it has to be.
And so I get all this, and I'm like, wow,
Like
this is just cool history on everybody going through, and then that area in St. Louis and everything, with pictures and all this stuff. And then, because he's a stonemason, it made me think of a book called Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. It's Ken Follett writes these big novels on people and real life, not real life events, but events, that could have happened. And Pillars of the Earth is about a family of stonemasons throughout the years that built on top of the same church, on top of the same church, on top of the same church. So I asked ChatGPT to take this 100-page version of my family's history and turn it into a Ken Follett book that's similar, and go read that book, read my history, come up with something about John and prior to that, and take it back to Caesar time frame and build something out. And what it wrote was pretty cool. I didn't get through the whole thing. In fact, I was listening to it in the car the other day, or yesterday on the way back from. I was taking one of my car rides. Anyway, it was a lot of fun. It was just, it's kind of something I can give to my family, and it's not quite finished yet. But
what's really cool about that is a lot of that stuff, because the papers and documents and stuff were so old and falling apart, a lot of that got scanned.
Yes.
So what better tool to look at raw scanned documents to find these things? That's like, it lives for that.
So that's the next step. Is it told me where to find things. It's saying, here's the next step. If you want to figure this out, there should be data on, in this region, and here's website that they have in France that you can get to this, And so I pulled those up, and as you said, it's just manuscripts in this long hand, that you can barely read, just copied in, and it's thousands of pages. So my next step is to build a bot. To go in,
read this.
Take a look at each one of these pages and see if you can find the name Prost in it, or here are the people I'm looking for. If you can find them. So
that's what things like Notebook LM is good for.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, there's just it. That's really cool. And what's nice is, like, enough to correct it, right? Like, it was like, okay, yeah, Missouri. No, I had a lot of relatives down there. That makes sense. Whereas if it said, yeah, they went into New York, and you'd be like, hey, we don't have any ties to New York. Well, that's the wrong.
Well, even on that, they had, like, John had 9 kids, and then a bunch of his kids had 10 kids as well, so certain of those people had posted things on some of this that it had found,
and it was able to help connect through. That's
exactly.
What's so cool.
It was easy to kind of go forward up to him because there was enough data out there. Yeah, pretty wild.
How cool is that?
Yeah, and
because a lot of people love doing that. That's a big hobby.
Yeah.
I know my father-in-law loved genealogy. Now, I mean, this is, he passed away this year, but he would have been blown away by that story.
Yeah.
Right? That you're getting to a point now where, all the stuff he's gathered, you can almost like scan it and go, here's what I've gotten so far verified. I mean, he would go on trips to go find the gravestones in the cemeteries.
Yeah.
Like, in the cemetery, there should be a gravestone with this name, and he'd go find them and I mean, it's just amazing.
So I have the gravestones. So
amazing.
There's links now for all that. So I have the gravestones of John and his wife, and if you see the gravestone, you can't read anything on it. But the Historical Society has already gone through and identified, all these gravestones. But great example. I mean, the Internet's a great thing for that anyway.
That's so cool.
But this would have taken me forever, really. And now,
because you got to make phone calls. You got to connect with someone who did some other research.
In French.
Oh, yeah, and then in French.
So I go to the French website, translate it into English for me. What am I looking for? Hey, Frank, walk me along this. Tell me what I'm looking for. Here's what it looks like, and talking me along. And then the pictures. So the ability to get cemetery plot pictures to say, hey, here's this old church. Give me a great picture of what this region looked like. Hey, make me a map that shows where this was in France, and highlight this and everything in the same form that you've made the other one. So make me a map. Now make me a map of Missouri. Make me a map of how this would have gone, and what's the most likely way they would have gotten here, through this. So 90% of the people came this direction. They would have either come this way, come to Missouri. They would have come through New Orleans, and here's the track they would have likely have taken. And then it says your great-great-great-great-grandfather was 9 years old when this happened, and he moved from this plains with giant mountains to an area that's flat as a pancake, and nobody spoke the language, and just in going through New Orleans and on a ship all that time, and just walking through the thought process. I thought that was cool too. Put me in that situation, what it would have been like, and the smells. And so it's fun. So my goal is to actually do like a children's book, say, using all these things that happened and how they made. They're famous. The region's famous for making cheese as well, and so they didn't have
cheese and wine in France. Weird.
Cheese specifically here, and so you need salt and cheese. I didn't know that to get the moisture out, but nobody had 20 cows in order to make this giant wheel of cheese, and so they'd come together as a collective, and you'd had to make this cheese all in 1 or 2 days. So they'd come together almost every day, all milk their cows, make this cheese to store it, and then split it up evenly within the community for your, based on your donation. And that the communal part of that had to be really huge in that as a community. And so when they moved, many people were moving to the United States, they all moved to the same spot and kept that kind of communal attitude. So
because now no one will have cheese anymore, so we all have to go together now.
Exactly. Anyway, so just to people looking for things to do, I found it just stunningly fascinating. And then he comes up with something like, man, tell me more about Julius Caesar. Tell me exactly what happened and where it was, and show me a map and give me the dates and what people were doing and how this worked. And so they burned everything so that they wouldn't come back. And then he made them come back. The survivor said, nope, you're going back. I like you as a buffer in that zone. And so they had to go back to a place that they had just burned everything and destroyed everything. Tough life.
The stories, how cool is that?
Yeah. And look at us here. We're talking about cars that drive themselves.
What a time.
Although wagons drove themselves back then, too. Just wasn't sure where you were going.
And on that bombshell, thanks for joining us on another episode of AGI. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned, and thanks for joining. We'll catch you on the next one.